The Prime Minister is being urged by one of his own Tory MPs to ban under-16s from using smartphones for the sake of their mental health. Joining me right now is the chair of the Campaign for Real Education, Chris McGovern. Afternoon, to you, Chris.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thanks for joining us. Now, look, you and I have discussed many a time about, phones in the classroom. I've always said, parents, if your child's allowed to have their phone in the classroom, you need to move schools, end of story. Your teacher hasn't got a clue what they're doing, allowing that. But this idea from Miriam Cates, an MP for whom I've got a lot of time, very sensible on a lot of things, says, actually, maybe under-16s shouldn't have access to these phones at all. They're not good for them, and they're bad for their mental health, certainly. What do you think?
I think she's probably right. The fact is, mobile technology is a drug. I've called it educational cocaine in the classroom. As a head teacher, I banned mobile phones. Children could bring them to the office, but I banned them from there. What's interesting in all of this is that in California, in Silicon Valley, where the billionaire technology moguls live, they are increasingly sending their own children to schools. They're called Waldorf schools, which do ban phones.
Yeah.
So they're the drug pushers.
Yeah.
If you
they
like,
they
and
don't
they're
allow
banning
their
it for
kids on
very
Instagram or no, they wouldn't be on Facebook, Snapchat, everything. Their kids aren't on any social media. They don't have the mobile phones, but they're happy to shunt them out to our kids. And then they wonder how much.
They're making money. They're making money from it. And, we talk a lot about climate change, but nobody's talking about mind change, which is the title of a book by Baroness Greenfield, a leading world expert on the brain. And she's pointed out that the brains of children are changing. You can photograph the brains, they are changing. We don't know the full impact of that, but it is a very real danger. And already, in France, they've decided to go along the pathway of banning mobile phones in schools. The Netherlands going the same way, Finland's going the same way. And last year, the United Nations issued a report saying that mobile phones in classrooms can be a great danger.
Yeah. But even in the playground, and when we've seen this awful upskirting and the sharing of these pointless, stupid videos, pranks and dares on social media, the porn that these children are seeing, most parents are completely and utterly unaware of the horrific, violent, rape-style porn that their children are seeing. And yes, they all think it's not their kid, but it is their kid that's seeing it or being shown it. And this is the thing. It seems to me that so much of this comes down to parenting as well. I'm amazed. I'm actually horrified by, even young children in buggies, barely able to speak, being given their mum's phone to shut them up. It's either food in their gob or a phone, something flashing light. You know what? Your kid's never going to find a book interesting if you've given them flashing lights, at the age of, 1 year. And then they wonder why they can't never get their kids to sit down and do anything and be calm or sit at a dinner table, because they give them this constant, they call it entertainment, and they all kid themselves that it's educational. It's not educational.
Yeah, but these days, Julia, too many teachers see education as part of the entertainment industry. Just keep the kids active, looking at the phone or whatever. It's disastrous. Look, it's a real problem because, many parents, of course, do restrict the use of phones or perhaps ban them. But the children who most need protection are those whose parents don't do that.
Yeah.
So I think any discussion about banning phones should be seen in the context, perhaps we ban alcohol, theoretically at least, for under 18-year-olds. And that's probably a good thing. So perhaps we should look towards restricting at least the use of mobile technology amongst young people. Except there are exceptional circumstances, because it's having a very damaging influence. But it's the feckless parents who don't see that and they let them have these phones. It's going to have long-term consequences. Other countries are already doing it.
Yeah. Chris McGovern, chair of the Campaign for Real Education. Always great to talk to you. Another of my favourite Chris is still with me in the studio. Chris Parry, former NATO and Royal Navy commander. Final word on this?
Julia, I'll flip to my other professional sideline, which is psychology. We've done some studies recently, and you look at the 4G generation, as I call it, the 11 to 18-year-olds now. They spend the whole of their teens putting the best of everything online, their best pictures, their best clothes, best music, everything. That gives them serotonin and other sorts of...
And they get likes release for it.
Yeah, likes through their likes. Trouble is, when they get to the workplace at 18, 19 or into university, everybody goes, you're not like that. You're not like the person you are on there. The likes drop, the serotonin drops, you get depression, all sorts of things. And here's another killer. We've just done a study between people who read books and people who read things on tablets and phones. The memory circuits don't energise when you read synthetic data.
Really? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the, again, kids need books, not mobile phones. And again, that the attention span.
All
and
stays
also
in the front.
even the rubbish that they're watching it's not even that, even if it's good content, it's not as good as the process of turning the page and taking it in that way. It's so depressing, isn't it? And again, I think all this evidence is mounting up, and action will be far too late for this generation.